Bruchim Aboim B'Shem Irgin Shir Torah. Moses Boston. I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's shir. All the men here in the main section and all the women upstairs and downstairs. All the people listening in through the telephone and tuning in through the live broadcast. Bruchim Aboim. I'd like to give a big shikach to Mr. Mendy Pomerantz for sponsoring tonight's shir. I'd like to give a big shikach to Mr. Shimon Eckstein for sponsoring tonight's shir. Lila Nishmas Imoy. Risha Chaya Basher Bayit Tzvi Ala Shalom. Outside tonight, Chav Zayin Ov. She is also learned Lila Nishmas Kenosi Esther Bas Pinchas Ala Shalom. Outside was today Chav Vav Ov. Tainish B'Sem Tzuros B'Sara Chaim. I'd like to remind the Olam that Irgin Shir Torah's annual dinner is coming up this coming Wednesday. Perfect time to show Akaras HaTov to Maggid Shir, who you might have enjoyed, will help Irgin Shir Torah and the Habatzas Torah throughout the year worldwide by putting an ad in the journal. Call Irgin Shir Torah 718-851-8651 or email tapecenter@yeshivanet.com for this great schus or for the equally great schus of sponsoring one of the remaining shiurim. Tonight we have the cover table with us once again, Rabbi Daniel Gladstein, Rav Kilis Avas Yisrael in Cedarhurst, speak on the important topic of Chodesh Elul, premium Chuva. It's my cover to call Rabbi Gladstein for tonight's drasha.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you to Irgun Shirei Torah, Rabbi Bald, and the entire network for giving me the opportunity to share with you some Divrei Torah in preparation for Chodesh Elul, Haba Aleinu L'Taiva. Typically, the parsha that we read at the beginning of Chodesh Elul is Parshas Re'eh. Usually, the way the calendar works out, Parshas Re'eh is the parsha that we learn at the beginning of Chodesh Elul. Very often, even Shabbos Rosh Chodesh Elul is Parshas Re'eh. The Shlach HaKadosh teaches us a very important principle, and that is that the parsha of the week is connected to the Zman of the year. Even though it's something that we all recognize instinctively, obviously the parsha of the week is connected, but nevertheless, according to the Gemara only mentions specific instances where a certain parsha has to be laid at a certain time. The Gemara says at the end of Megillah that Ezra was Masakein, that before Shavuos we lay in the Teichacha from Bechukaisai, and before Rosh Hashanah we lay in the Teichacha from Kisavai. Other than that, any parsha could really fall out at any time of the year. And one would then think that there's no specific connection between Echveis, Mechiras Yosef, and Chanukah. It doesn't say in the Gemara that a certain parsha is connected to a certain time of the year, but nevertheless says the Shla, Dvarim, Gedolim, Einam B'Mikra, and if a certain parsha is usually laid at a certain time of the year, there's a reason why it's laid at that time. That parsha is specifically connected to that time of the year. So the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the connection between Parshas Re'eh and Chodesh Elul? Why is it that Parshas Re'eh is always the beginning of Chodesh Elul? The most well-known remez to the month of Elul, of course, we're all familiar, the pasuk in Shir Hashirim, Ani l'doidi v'doidi li. Rashi Tevois Elul. That Ani l'doidi, that if we are for the Ribbon Shalom, the Ribbon Shalom will be for us. Of course, this is brought in the Avodraham, and the Mishnah Berurah even brings it down, that the Soifei Tevois of the words Ani l'doidi v'doidi li, Yud, 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 Gematria 40. This corresponds to the 40 days. The third time Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai. First time he goes up, he comes down. Klal Yisrael are serving the egel, so Moshe Rabbeinu takes the luchais. He smashes the luchais. He goes up again after Shavas B'Tammuz for a second time. And this time the Rebbeinu Shalom says, okay, let's take two. Moshe Rabbeinu makes his ascent, Rosh Chodesh Elul. He goes up, and at the end of the 40 days, Moshe Rabbeinu comes down, and he hears the magical words, Salachti Kidvarecha, and for all time, Yom Kippur was established as a day of Slicha v'Chapara. Ani l'doidi v'doidi li, Chodesh Elul ushers in the 40 days. 40 days. Here's the question. The Rebbeinu Shalom has many names. Yud Kei Vav Kei, How many times in Chumash is Rebbeinu Shalom called Doidi? How many times in Sefer Bereshis? 0. How many times in Sefer Shemais? 0. How many times in Vayikra, Bamidbar, Dorim? Nowhere in the entire Chumash is Rebbeinu Shalom called Doidi. All of a sudden we get to Chodesh Elul, Rebbeinu Shalom is a Doidi. It's a beautiful name, but it's not Hashem's name. It's not one of the Sheva Shema Shenim and Chakim. He's not ever called Doidi. So why, when it comes to Chodesh Elul, it should be Ani le'Elokim, Elokim li, Ani la'Hashem, v'la'Hashem li, Ani le'Tzvakos, Ani le'Shaka, Ani le'Ekya. Where do we drum up Ani le'Doidi, v'Doidi li? What does Doidi got to do with Chodesh Elul? That's the question of the Chidah. Why do we specifically use the word Doidi in connection with Chodesh Elul? So let's start our journey tonight. Let's see how the first pasuk in Parshas Re'eh is connected to the process of Chuva. Says the Vilna Gaon, Re'eh anoichi noisein lefnechem hayom bracha u'klala. Number 1, noisein. Here's the first impediment to Chuva. Here you have a guy. At 13 years old, he made a bad decision. He decided he's going to talk by davening. He made a bad choice. And he's been doing it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Now it comes, he wakes up, he says, Chodesh Elul, but the guy says to himself, Avada, I believe in Bechira. I was once giving a shir, and we were talking about free choice, and somebody raised their hand. By the way, there's no such thing as free choice. Hashem runs the world, and Hashem makes a person do mitzvahs and averos. So the guy was in his 80s, and he's a koifer b'Torah kula. He's an apikoros. He lifts up a bottle of wine, and it's yayin esach. He's a from a yid. The guy has a long beard, but he's a koifer. He doesn't believe in Bechira. That's the fundamental principle of Yahadus, that nothing compels us. We have absolute free choice. A person can make a decision to do the right thing and do the wrong. But a person might think, says the Gra, that maybe we only have Bechira in the beginning of our life, when we first set out in Avodas Hashem. But once we make that initial decision to do right or to do wrong, maybe we're locked into it. A person might say, I used to be able to learn Be'iyun, or I used to be able to do certain mitzvahs when I was younger, but now that I took a certain path in life, I'm locked in. I can't veer off of that. That's not for me anymore. No. The first principle of Chuva is noisein. Every moment in life, a person has a free choice to choose again, Ra or Tov. Tov or Ra. No one is locked into Tov, and no one is locked into Ra. Every moment in life, a person is liberated from past choices and can make an absolutely free decision. Hein l'tov v'hein l'mutav. Re'ei anoichi, not nosati lefnechem bracha klala. Noisein. Every moment in life is a new opportunity to choose good or bad. Says the Gra, here's the next problem. The problem is, okay, I could choose, but I feel so dirty, I feel so sullied, I feel unworthy of the goodwill of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says Rebbeinu Shalom, it's hayoim. Forget about what you did in the past. The first step in Chuva is that what was yesterday was yesterday, what was last year was last year. Every day is a new opportunity. Every neshama has the ability to say, Yiu be'einecha kechadashim. It's a new opportunity. It's a new choice. Nothing I've done in the past will affect who I am today. So you say it's too hard. It's too overwhelming. It's too difficult. The hurdle is too tall. Anoichi, says the Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm with you. I will help you. If I will help you, you could do anything. It is too hard. That's the truth. B'chol yom v'yom yitzroi shel adam misgaber alav v'ilmolei HaKadosh Baruch Hu oizroi eino yachaloi. So Taka says, Rebbeinu Shalom, Anoichi, it is I am with you. I will give you the ability. I will give you the strength. So a person might say, okay, great. Anoichi. The Rebbeinu Shalom is with me. So the Rebbeinu Shalom is with me. I'm going to stay in bed, and the Rebbeinu Shalom will give me siyata d'shmaya to do everything that I need to do. I don't have... Somebody told me they went to a makubal. The guy doesn't learn a word. And the Mekubal told him, Sheker v'chazav, don't worry. The Rebbeinu Shalom loves you, and he's going to make sure that you do whatever you need to do in this world to get to Olam Haba. Nonsense. No, the Rebbeinu Shalom is not doing anything for you. If you're going to stay in bed, the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to make sure you schluf gesund. You have to make the choice. Lefneichem, says the Rebbeinu Shalom, it's anoichi, but at the end of the day, it's your choice, it's your decision, it's your call. You have to take the first step. You have to make the first move. That's lefneichem. So lest the person say, but here's the problem, but nobody else is doing it. I want to do the right thing. I want to be good. I want to be a tzaddik. But nobody else is doing the right thing. So why can't I just do what everybody else is doing, says Rebbeinu Shalom. Not re'u, but re'eh. See, lashon yachid. Doesn't matter what anybody else does. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. Everybody lives in their own world. B'shvili nivra ha'olam. Says the Gra, the opening pasuk of Parshas Re'eh is addressing already the impediments of tshuva and the notions that a person might have that will prevent him from doing tshuva, and therefore says Rebbeinu Shalom, Re'eh, every individual has their own achrayus. Anoichi, I'm going to be with you. Noisein, every moment is a new free choice. Hayom, forget about the past. Lefneichem, ultimately you have to make the decision. Let's talk about tshuva. We're good? We should start over? No? Okay. Okay. Let's talk about tshuva. Tshuva is a process. Tshuva works. If a person does tshuva, it wipes away an avera. Can everybody do tshuva? Is tshuva available to all of mankind? One would think, yeah, I mean, you look through Tanakh, you find Yoina was sent to the city of Nineveh. They were not Yidden. Apparently, tshuva is a process that's available to all of mankind. And nevertheless, there's an incredible medrash. If you have the Maramakaimos, if you look at number 4 on your sheets, medrash Tanchuma. Now, this medrash Tanchuma asks a stira that the Gemara in Brachos answers differently, the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah answers differently, but the Tanchuma has a different take on it. Ksiv, there's one pasuk, Parshas Nasai, Yisa Hashem panav elecha. The Rebbeinu Shalom will show favoritism to you. He will countenance you. He will look away. He will favor you. V'kasav echad oimer asher lo yisa panim. That the Rebbeinu Shalom does not show favoritism. That the Rebbeinu Shalom will not countenance you. So it's a stira. Does the Rebbeinu Shalom show favoritism? Does the Rebbeinu Shalom not show favoritism? Answers the medrash. Oise tshuva noise loy panim. It all depends. If you don't do tshuva, there ain't nothing you could do. The Rebbeinu Shalom is not going to countenance you. He's not going to show you favor. But oise tshuva yisa Hashem panav elecha. That's the medrash. But then the medrash continues. Yachal akoyol. I would think that anybody could do tshuva. In Brooklyn they could do tshuva. In Florida they could do tshuva. In Nebraska, they could do tshuva. If you're a yid, you could do tshuva. If you're a goy, why not? Yachal hakoil. Why? Either charata and vidoy works or charata and vidoy doesn't work. Says the medrash, no. Yisa Hashem panav eilecha v'loy le'uma meyakom. You could do tshuva. Goyim cannot do tshuva. Do we paskin this way? This is how we paskin. The Beis Elikim, just to be familiar, it's kedai to be familiar with the Sefer Beis Elikim. There are not too many svarim of Rishonim written on Tshuva. You have Shari Tshuva Rabbeinu Yoina, you have the Rambam Hilchos Tshuva, you have the Meiri wrote the Chibur HaTshuva, and then you have the Beis Elikim of the Mabit, Rav Moshe Mitrani. He was a contemporary of the Beis Yosef. In the Shar HaTshuva, the Beis Elikim in number 5, the Mabit writes, Derech Klal Iker Tshuva Li Yisrael. Only a Yid could do Tshuva. The Rama Mipano, Rav Menachem Azar Mipano and Asara Ma'amoros, he says, no, Ein Tshuva Ma'elas Ela Li Yisrael. Only a Jew could do Tshuva. The Bnei Yissaschar writes from the Sefer Limudei Hashem, Kama ta'amim, lama hatshuva mayelas rak li Yisrael. The consensus of the Achronim is that Chuva only works for Klal Yisrael. By the way, so you'll ask, so what was going on in Nineveh? What was Yoina telling them? Do Chuva, but Goyim can't do Chuva. The answer is they weren't going to do Chuva. Ultimately, Nineveh was destroyed. Nineveh didn't do Chuva. The pasuk says, Oid arbaim yaim v'Ninveh nepach. As the Navi said, in 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed. And they were. Says the Malbim, Oid is Gematria 80. Oid, Arbaim is 40. In 120 years, Yoim in the Tanakh often means years. In 120 years, Nineveh was destroyed. That's what the Navi said. If the Navi says you're going to be destroyed, it's going to be destroyed. All Nineveh was able to do, it was able to defer punishment, push it off. But there's no concept of tshuva. Rabbi say there is no concept of tshuva in life. Somebody's standing in front of a judge. So the judge says, you've been convicted of X, Y, and Z. Avada, judge. But you don't understand. Ashamnu, I'm guilty, and I have charot, I feel very bad, and I'm never going to do it again. So that's it, let me out. So the judge said, yeah, behind bars, you're never going to do it again. There's no such thing as tshuva in life. Just because you feel bad about something, okay, good for you. How does that remove from reality what you did? There's a special matana toiva that the Rebbeinu Shalom gave Klal Yisrael. A goy is not able to do tshuva. That's what the Medrash says, the Mabit, the Ramami Pano, the Bnei Yissaschar, the Chida, and the question is why? Adar ya, adar nisht. Is it a real process? Is it a real mechanism? If the Rebbeinu Shalom accepts the regret and the confession of a human being, then it should work. And if he doesn't accept it, it shouldn't work. Why would it only work for a Yid? Says the Heilige Chida, this is the secret of tshuva. Here's the problem. Somebody goes over to the king, and somebody insults the king. So the king, it happens to be, he was just learning Musar. He was just learning the Gemara that says, Hanel lovim ve'enam ovim. If you're insulted, you don't insult back. Shoymim cherpasam einam ashivin. You hear your disgrace and you don't respond. Aleya makasav oimer va'oyav of kitzeis hashem shbegrasa. So the king just learned the Musar Seder, and a guy came in and he said, King, you're a dummy. And the king says, I just learned the Musar Sefer. Macholach, macholach, macholach. I want to work on my anivos. I want to work on my midos. Can a king be moichel his insult? Absolutely not. What does the Gemara say in Kedushin? Melech shemachal al kvoidoi ein kvoidoi machal. So then how could tshuva work? You did an Avera. Hashem is melech ha'olam. Rebbeinu Shalom follows the dictates of the Torah. So you did an Avera. How can the Rebbeinu Shalom be moichel you? Melech shemachal al kvoidoi ein kvoidoi machal. It's a big kasha. The answer is because Rebbeinu Shalom is not only Malkeinu, Rebbeinu Shalom is Avinu. So the kid comes into shul, and the kid's sitting in the father's seat. The father could say, stay. Why? Av shemachal al kvoidoi machal. Says the Chida, beautiful. You know how tshuva works? The process of tshuva is that the Rebbeinu Shalom is our Father. And therefore, through the principle, through the mechanism of Av, Shemachal al Kvoidoi, the Rebbeinu Shalom could be makabel our tshuva. So you say, but they say in the world, aren't we all the children of the Lord? You ever hear that? Sheker v'chazav. We're not all the children of the Lord. The Umayis ha'olam are not the children of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Mishnah says in Avos, Chavivin Yisrael shenikru banim lamakom shenemar banim atem lashem alekeichem. You, it's a diuk, it's an exclusion, it's a miyud. You are the children of the Rebbeinu Shalom. Mamela says the Chida. The way that tshuva works is, for a yid, the Rebbeinu Shalom is our father. So if he's our father, he could be moichel us. But for the goyim, he's the melech Hashem al goyim. The many, many psukim that speak about the Rebbeinu Shalom's relationship. Mi lo yira'acha melech hagoyim, molach Elokim al goyim. The Rebbeinu Shalom is the melech over the goyim. So if a Gentile does an avera, he's in big trouble. He could stall, he could push it off, he could convert, but he can't do tshuva. But a yid, av shemachal al kavoidai, kavoidai machal. Mamela. But you say the Rebbeinu Shalom is also our melech, yeah? That's right. That's right. If Bezdin down here is mechayev son misa, there's nothing you could do. That's because Bezdin's not your father. Bezdin's the court. You can't. Chuva will not help with Bezdin shalmata. Absolutely not. You're right. One of the reasons is how would Bezdin know if you did chuva or not? How does Bezdin know if you had charata? How does Bezdin... It could be in the Svarim that if a person does a genuine tshuva, the Rebbeinu Shalom will orchestrate it, that the Bezdin will maybe make a mistake or Bezdin will acquit you. But a tshuva doesn't help for Bezdin Shalmata. So how does tshuva work? What's the engine? What's the mechanism of tshuva? Which pasuk in Chumash is the mechanism of tshuva? Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. Mamela comes Chodesh Elul, and the first parsha that we read in Chodesh Elul is Parshas Re'eh. And as we're embarking on the process of tshuva, the person thinks to themselves, tshuva, that's wonderful, but how is the Rebbeinu Shalom going to be mekabel my tshuva? The Rebbeinu Shalom is the melech, malchios. How's the Rebbeinu Shalom going to be mekabel our tshuva? So the first parsha we learn in Chodesh Elul is Re'eh, where we read, Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. That's step one. That's the introduction to tshuva. The fundamental principle, the basis, the yesod of tshuva, the engine of tshuva, the mechanism of tshuva, the way it operates is through the principle of Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. But there are different kinds of tshuva. You ever go to shul on Yom Kippur? There's this very strange practice that we have. The end of the Shemona Esrei on Yom Kippur, all of a sudden people, they start confessing, right? They start confessing. Now, if you were confessing, how would you confess? I stole, and I robbed, and I killed a lot of people, right? You would think you would use like an eicha nigun, a snappy, upbeat nigun. Imagine a guy came in. I stole, and, right? He's a meshugana. What in the world are you doing? Oh, shahamnu, boganu, gozam dibarnu, doifi, na. Sounds like v'samachta b'chagecha. So he said, no, that's not how you sing it. You're supposed to go, oh, shahamnu, oy vai vai vai. No, you're not supposed to. If you want to know what the musical notes of a shahamnu are, you look in the Achronim. The Achronim ask, what in the world are we doing singing a happy tune for Vidoy? It's a chutzpah. It means like you don't recognize you're doing something wrong. You sing a happy tune when you have a cash register and you're counting the bills. You don't sing a happy tune when you're standing in front of someone admitting to them what they did wrong. You ever, you need to apologize to your wife. So you say, why are you smiling? That's the worst thing you could do. You're smiling, you're dead. And we're singing a tune, we're singing a happy tune. Ashamnu bagana. What's going on? Leil Rosh Hashanah, we daven. Yiratzain mofanecha sheyirbu zechu yoseinu. Rebbeinu Shalom, increase our merits. So we eat merin. So here we're sitting on the table. We're not doing anything. We're laying back. We're being lazy, and we're asking God, give us a lot of mitzvahs. Rebbeinu Shalom says, are you kidding me? I should give you a lot of mitzvahs? You get off your chair and do them. What do you want from my life? The one thing the Rebbeinu Shalom can't do for us is he can't do mitzvahs for us. Why would you ask the Rebbeinu Shalom to give you a lot of mitzvahs? You want to do the mitzvahs? There's something called Talmud Bavli. Open it up and learn it. Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. What do you want from the Rebbeinu Shalom? Imagine you're sitting there with the Gemara closed. Rebbeinu Shalom, give me the Gemara. Open it up and learn it yourself. What kind of tefillah is that? Sheyirbu zechu yoseinu? That's the one thing you can't daven for. Says the Gemara in Brachos, B'makoim shebalei tshuva oimdim, ein tzadikim gemura michaylam lamed. Where the balei tshuva stand, the completely righteous will never stand. As if somehow the Baal Tshuva is on a higher pedestal than the Tzaddik Gomor. In what way is the Baal Tshuva on a higher pedestal? We're talking about a Tzaddik Gomor. We're not talking about somebody who's doing things by rote. He's serving Hashem belev shalem. His entire life, from the time he's 13 years old, he's thinking about Reb Chaim al Rambam. His Shmoina Esrei is like the Baal Shem Tov, his level of learning and lamdus, and this guy's a Baal Tshuva. He hasn't learned for 40 years. Exactly what did this Baal Tshuva do that the Tzaddik Gomor didn't do? In what way? I'm not talking about somebody who's doing it, mitzvah sanoshim melumada. That's Tzaddik Gomor. B'makoim shebalei tshuva oimdim ein tzadikim gemur michaylam lamoid. There are two kinds of tshuva. The Gemara in Masechta Yuma Pevava Mabez asks a steer in Reish Lakish. Reish Lakish made two statements, number 11. First, Reish Lakish said, Gedoyla tshuva shezedoinois nasis loy kishkagos. Reish Lakish says tshuva is great, that intentional sins are downgraded to unintentional. Like the pasuk says in Hosea, Shuva Yisrael ad Hashem lekecha ki chashalta ba'avoinecha. You stumbled in your intentional sin. Meaning you did an intentional sin, and now we're going to say it's only a stumble, it's only a shoygeg. So from here we see if you do tshuva, intentional is downgraded to shoygeg. And then v'ha'omar Reish Lakish zedoinois nasis loy kizechuyos shenemar uv'shivrasha mirishasa v'yasa mishpat utztaka aleim yichya, that through the Avera you'll live, that the Avera will turn into a mitzvah. It's a steer in Reish Lakish. First, Reish Lakish says it's downgraded. So here you guy who's driving 100 miles an hour. He got $150 fine and points. And he got an attorney, and he got the points off, and he pays the fine. That's the first statement of Reish Lakish. Downgrade. And then Reish Lakish says, no. Yeah, you were driving 100 miles an hour, and you regretted it, and the judge paid you the $150. So it's a stira. Says the Gemara, it's not a stira. Kan me ahava, kan me yira. That if you do tshuva out of yira, it's downgraded. It says Rabbi Petterberg, the lumdus is like this. You did an avera. You didn't realize you were going to be thrown into a hot oven. If you would have known about the oinshim of the avera, you wouldn't have done it. So it's like you did the avera betos. So now the avera that you did intentionally, it's like a mater neder. If you would have known the repercussions, you wouldn't have done it. So now we downgrade it to shoygeg. But if you do tshuva out of ahava, then the avera is turned into a mitzvah. Says the Sefer Taras Chaim. What we're davening for the night of Rosh Hashanah, Sheyir B'Zuchu Yaseinu, is we're saying, Ribbon Shalom, there's really only one way to add to your merits without doing anything. If you do tshuva me'ava. If you do tshuva me'ava, then all the averos that you've done are turned into mitzvahs. So a guy went to McDonald's. Says Chsam Sofer, if a guy went to McDonald's, and now he does tshuva me'ahava, it's nepach into achilas korban pesach. So you have two people. You have one tzaddik gomer that sat in the Beis Medrash his whole life. The only problem is, it's his bad mazel. He lives in 2018. So he was never zoicha to eat the korban pesach. But this guy, who used to be a Rasha, went to McDonald's for an entire year every night. Then he did tshuva me'ahava. When he gets up to Shemayim, he's going to be rewarded with hundreds of achilas korban pesach. B'makoim shebalei tshuva oimdim ein tzadikim gemur michaylam lamoid, says the Chida. A tzaddik gomur will never have the mitzvah of achilas korban pesach. He'll never have the mitzvah of gezela, geneva, sheker, shatnez. The poor tzaddik is limited to the 248 mitzvahs. The Rasha who did tshuva me'ava, the possibilities are endless. You know how many averus you could do? I don't even want to tell you. And don't try this, don't be soymech on this. But if a person did do an avera, and they do tshuva me'ava, the possibilities are endless, says the Chida. B'makom shebalei tshuva oimdim, the tzaddik gomor is so limited in the ways he could come close to Hashem. The person who does tshuva, the vast array of zechusim that you never heard of, this guy has in his repertoire. B'makom shebalei tshuva oimdim, ein tzaddikim gemur micholam la'amoid. Let me tell you, Rabbi Kiva Eger. This is not in the Chidush of Rabbi Kiva Eger. This is not in the Drush V'Chidush. It's not in the Chuvas. It's in the biography of Rabbi Kiva Eger. The official biography of Rabbi Kiva Eger is the Chod HaMeshulash. Chod HaMeshulash is the biography of Chasam Sofer, Rabbi Kiva Eger, Ksav Sofer. Chazon Ish said, every Jewish home must have this Sefer. They asked the Chazon Ish, should you have Gedolim books? He said you should have the Chod HaMeshulash. It was written by the son of the Ksav Sofer. I see my friend from Torah Treasures. He's going to get it in tomorrow, right? And he'll give me a commission. Yeah, we'll make a deal later. Chod HaMeshulash. In the Chod HaMeshulash, says Rabbi Kiva Eger, what's pshat in the Gemara? The Gemara says, we lay in he's over there. People are looking where you are. He's on that side, yeah? So Rabbi Kiva Eger wants to know what's pshat in the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah that we blow tkiyas dem yushav, tkiyas dem umad. We blow sitting. Now today we stand the whole time, but we blow tkiyas dem yushav, we blow tkiyas dem umad. So the Gemara says kidei la'arbe v'es satan. We're trying to confuse the satan. Says Tosfos. Tosfos says the famous pshat that first we blow, the satan thinks we're being mekayim the mitzvah, then we blow again, the satan thinks Mashiach is here, and he skedaddles. Rashi says a different pshat. Look at number 17. Says Rashi, Shaloi Yastin. We confuse the Satan. We don't want him to instigate. Kisha Shoymea Yeshe Yisrael Mechavivin es ha-mitzvos. Then when he hears that Klal Yisrael loves mitzvos, Misatimim Dvarav, he's silenced. You hear the Rashi? That when the Satan sees that we blow the shofar twice and we love doing mitzvahs, the Satan runs away. It's correct, Rabbi Kiva Eger, I understand. If the Satan sees that we love mitzvahs, he should be instigating more. He should want to be makacheg more. He should want to interfere more. Why does the fact that we love mitzvahs stop the Satan from his kitrog? Says Rabbi Kiva Eger, very pashat. You see, until now, the Satan figures the level of tshuva that we're doing, the type of tshuva that we're doing, is tshuva miyura. So he starts reading to the Rebbeinu Shalom the laundry list of chataim. Here's the guy, he wakes up in the morning, he comes to shul, he's texting the whole davening, and then he's talking about Chazaras Hashatz. Rebbeinu Shalom, why didn't anyone tell him that the Kaf HaChaim says he's better not even coming to shul? How come no one ever told him that? He would have gotten more Gan Eden if he would have stayed home in bed. And the Satan's reading all the Averos that the person did. And then the Satan sees that we blow the shofar twice. And the Satan says, oy vay, this guy loves mitzvahs. If he loves mitzvahs, he's doing tshuva me'ava. If he's doing tshuva me'ava, every Avera I read to the Rebbeinu Shalom is nepach l'zechus. I better keep my mouth closed. That's pshat in the Gemara Rosh Hashanah. Kidei la'arbe v'es Satan, says Rabbi Kiva Eger. Once the Satan gets a whiff of the fact that we have a bissel avas Hashem, he's choishesh. Maybe we're going to do tshuva me'ava, and he keeps his mouth closed because he's afraid that every avera that he tells the Rebbeinu Shalom is going to be mahapech into achilas korban Pesach. Says the Tiferes Yisrael Masechta Tainus. You know what the happiest moment of the year is? That if we could squeeze a little avas Hashem out of our heart, it's like we won a windfall. Oh, shamnu, Baruch Hashem, oh, shamnu. It's a good, what a zechus it was that we were guilty and we did the avera of Hashamnu. Bagadnu, gazalnu doifi, gazalnu dibarnu doifi. We're reading besimcha all the averos that we've done in order that the Rebbeinu Shalom are mahapech them lemitzvahs. That's why we say the Hashamnu besimcha. Because if we do the tshuva me'ahava, then the laundry list of chatam that we have is actually a list of zechusim that are oimed for us as a melitz on the Yom Adin. And as we're going to see, on the Yom Adin, actually, the biggest hagana, the biggest zechusim that we're going to have are the averos that we did, that the Rebbeinu Shalom was mahapik to zechusim. And we're going to explain. That's the pshat, says the Chidah. B'makoim shabalei tshuva oimdim ein tzadikim gemurim yichoylem lamoid. If you never went to Burger King, you were never makriv of the Korban Pesach. Says the Chassam Sofer. I'll read to you his words. I'm not making this up. Look at number 22. Says the Drashas Chassam Sofer. Haloi hashav me'ava nasim loy zedoinoy sechuyois v'chol zayis nevela sha'achal havalei ke'ilu achal Korban Pesach b'Yerushalayim. It's amazing how close you could come to Hashem through Averos. So here you have a guy. You heard about the Shidduch? The biggest oisher in the world. He's a multi-billionaire. And he's mezavig his daughter with the guy, his father is an ani ve'evyain. So the two mechutanim meet, and the father, the chassan, comes in. He looks like a shmata. And the father, Kala, comes in. He's immaculately dressed. So father Kala just says, look, we're not going to fool around here. We know what's going on. I'll take care of it. We're not going to do 70, 30%. It's covered. Just do me one favor. Just get your kid a suit, and it'll be a chasana like you never saw. He couldn't even get the kid a normal suit. He went to, one of these stores. Buy one, get 10 free. And he got his kid a suit. And the kid's coming and gets into an accident on the way to the chasana. He goes flying through the dashboard. The suit rips. He falls into the mud. He comes into the chasana, disheveled, dirty. The suit is gone. Baruch Hashem, the chasan's okay. The shver looks at the kid. He said, Baruch Hashem, you're okay, but we need a new suit. This time, he tells the other mechutin, you're not buying the suit. This time, I'm buying the suit. And when the shver buys the suit, he ain't going to a Haimish store to buy the suit. He's buying, he's buying a nice suit. Says the Dubna Magid, as great as any tzaddik will ever be, you can never do even one mitzvah to which you could stand up and say, this mitzvah is a perfect mitzvah. Be'ahava, be'yira, b'chol dikdukeha, prateha, b'kavanoseha. Every mitzvah that we'll ever do will always be limited by human shortcoming. There's only one way to get a perfect mitzvah. And that is when you're not the one who did the mitzvah, but the mitzvah was given to you by the Rebbe Shalom. That if a person ate a nevela, but then had genuine charata, and genuine azivas hachet, and genuine kabal ala asid, and the Rebbe Shalom is mahapichet into a zechus, says the Rebbe Shalom, I'm the shver now. I ain't giving you a mitzvah from a local store. I'm giving you a custom-made mitzvah. I'm giving you my kind of mitzvah. I'm giving you a gem. I'm giving you a perfect mitzvah. Says Ribbanu Shalom, b'makoim shebalei Chuva oimdim tzadikim gemurim einam yicholim lamoid. The mitzvahs that the Ribbanu Shalom will give somebody who does Chuva me'ava far surpass even a mitzvah that a tzaddik gomer. You could have a tzaddik gomer who could have been learning in the Beis Medrash their entire life, b'kedusha v'tara. But if somebody did an aveira and did genuine tshuva, his mitzvahs from Rebbe Shalom will be on a level that will make all the mitzvahs of a tzaddik gomer pale in comparison, says the Dubna Magid. And therefore, we come to the month of Elul, and the Rebbe Shalom says, don't settle in the month of Elul. You're going to say, oh, Elul's here. Oy vay. Even the fish faint when they say Rosh Chodesh Elul, right? Say, I'm sittering from Chodesh Elul. You should sitter. But don't do the tshuva just from sittering. Because if you just do the tshuva from sittering, then all the avonos are going to be downgraded. Says Ribbanu Shalom, there are different kinds of credit cards. You want to have a premium credit card. You want to have premium tshuva. If you want to make sure that the averos are not just downgraded, not just wiped away, but elevated and upgraded and shined and polished to the highest level. You want to do a real tshuva? Chuva me'ahava is what we're talking about. Chodesh Elul is for premium tshuva. Says the Chidah. Where is the remes to Chodesh Elul? Ani le'loikim li. That's not the kind of tshuva we're talking about. Ani le'yud kevavke. No. Ani le'doidi v'doidi li. I am for my beloved. The kind of tshuva that we're trying to create and we're trying to accomplish in Chodesh Elul is ani le'doidi, tshuva me'ahava. That's, if we're zoicha to do, oh, shahamnu, bagadnu, that's a Chodesh Elul that we're looking for. That's why the remez, says the Chidah, to the month of Elul is ani ledoidi, v'doidi li. The word that describes the love that the Rebbeinu Shalom has for us and the love that we have for the Rebbeinu Shalom. So you say, Avas Hashem. I mean, that's a high madrega. That's for big tzaddikim. Look in the Chodesh Elul, the final chapter, Shar Avas Hashem. Could a regular Jew have Avas Hashem? Says Masil Sisharim, there are many levels of Avas Hashem. But every single Yid has a certain baseline, fundamental feeling of Avat HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Says Masil Sisharim, if you look at number 24, Beveyor Chelke Hazahiros, Avas Hashem is Shaloi Tia Ava Tzluya B'davar. Ke'avas Haben La'aviv, like the love of a child to his father. A child doesn't love their father because of, it's Ava Tivis. It's a natural love. It says in Masil Sisharim, the Rebbeinu Shalom is Haloihu Avicha Kanecha. He's your tata. Therefore, it is possible for a person, you don't have to go out and bring it home, bring it in. It's there. You need to draw it forth. You need to bring it out. You ever wonder? It's one of the 613 mitzvahs in Torah. It's very interesting. Chavetz Chaim writes in the Sefer Avas Chesed that the same way you don't eat before davening, you don't eat before you put on your tefillin, you want to make sure that you've accomplished the basic mitzvah saseh d'oraisa in the morning before you even eat. Says the Chavetz Chaim, what about Avas Hashem? It's also one of the 613 mitzvahs. Says the Chavetz Chaim, do not go home from shul in the morning until you could check off that today I was mekayim the mitzvah of Avas Hashem. When are you mekayim it? When you say the pasuk, v'yahavta eis Hashem lekecha. And if you can't do it then, says the Chavetz Chaim, so you do it after davening. It takes 2 seconds. The same way you put on tefillin. You know, in the morning, how many mitzvahs d'oraisa are you mekayim? Shema, Birchas HaTorah, Tzitzis, Avas Hashem. Says the Chavetz Chaim, don't go home, don't start Achilas Boiker until you know you've been mekayim that mitzvah. And even though the Chodesh Elul writes that Avas Hashem is the highest madrega, says the Vilna Gaon, you could teach Avas Hashem even to little children. So that means madregos yesh. There are many, many, many levels of Avas Hashem. Just a basic idea. What's the difference between Ava and Devekos? You know, we learned in last week's parsha, Uladavka boy. What's the difference between Ava and Devekos? So Chavetz Chaim writes, Devekos means that the feeling of Avas Hashem is permanent in your heart. You're always enraptured by Avas Hashem. That's Devekos. But Ava is just, even if lefrakim, even if upon occasion, a person is ma'oira themselves to Avas Hashem, that's the madrega of Avas Hashem. So, a few months ago I had the privilege to speak in London. There's a very important item in London that it's the only place in the world that these still exist. Telephone booths, right? On every corner there's a big red telephone booth. And the telephone booth serves a very important purpose. So Victor Miller used to say that at least once a day, a Yid should say, remember how he used to say, I love you, Hashem. The only thing is, people are going to think you're crazy. So I would say that people know already. It's okay. But if you're worried, so he would say, you go into a telephone booth and you make a long-distance phone call, and you say, I love you, Hashem. But nowadays, Rebbe Shem gave us a new invention. We don't need a telephone. There's something called, I don't know if you know about it, there's something called a cell phone. That a lot of people, they holster it onto their belt like a gun, like a weapon. And you could actually take it out at any time of the day. And there are people, I don't know if you've ever seen, they're walking through the streets as cars are coming and hitting them. They're still on the cell phone. So if people are using it, all day long, why not you take the opportunity to mekayim a mitzvah saseh, and if you're too embarrassed, you could text. It also works. But if a person would squeeze a little avas Hashem until their tshuva and take advantage of the fact that the month of Elul is not ani le'loikim ve'loikim li, ani la'Hashem ve'Hashem li, ani le'tzvakis, that's ani le'doidi ve'doidi li, then their tshuva will become dynamite. Then it will be the happiest moment of your life. Then the Ashamnu will sound like v'samachta b'chagecha. So there in the Sefer Lekach Toiv, he quotes from a very important Sefer called, Saviv L'Shulchan HaMagid, he quotes. In the Sefer, Saviv L'Shulchan HaMagid, he brings down the following story. So there's a kid playing by the seacoast. And all the kids are playing, they're playing dodgeball. And one kid goes all the way down to the water. He's not playing with the rest of the kids. And he looks like he's doing something very strange. And the kids look, what in the world is this kid doing? And he has a stick, he has a flag. And he's waving the flag, So the kids call out, come play with us. Well, why are you playing by yourself? What are you doing? So the kid says, no, I have something very important to do. They said, what's going on? He said, I'm waving a flag. So who are you waving at? I'm waving at the ship. So you look out in the distance and they see, with their binoculars, this little speck, slowly moving across the horizon. They said, what do you mean you're waving at the ship? The ship can't see you. Not only could the ship see me, he says, I'm waving my flag at the captain of the ship. So you're waving, you can't even see the ship. How do you expect to see the captain? He said, no, not only am I waving at the captain, I am confident that the captain of the ship is waving back at me. Say, why are you so confident? He says, because the captain of the ship is my father. That's why I'm so confident. Why are we so confident in the month of Elul? That if ani l'doidi, says the Mishnah Berurah, that if we put our best foot forward, why are we so confident that the Ribbono Shel Olam will respond in kind and return to us, and as we wave our white flag of Chuva, that the Ribbono Shel Olam will wave back at us? How do we know? How can we be so certain? Says Parshas Re'eh, the opening parsha of Chodesh Elul, Bonim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. That's the engine of Chuva. That's the mechanism of Chuva. And I'm going to tell you a lumdisha point. And if you came just to hear this, it was Kedai. There's a very frightening Gemara. V'alzois yidvu kol hadevuyim. This is a very frightening Gemara. I ask you a question, honest question. A person sits in shul the whole Yom Kippur and fasts the entire day. Let's say a person fasts the entire day. What happens to their chataim? Absolutely nothing. What does Yom Kippur accomplish? Zero. Yom Kippur doesn't do anything. We don't paskin like Rabbi. Rabbi says, Itzumei shel Yom Mechaper. We paskin like the Chachamim. Yom Kippur without Chuva, maybe if you're lucky you lost a pound or two, but that's it. Chuva, without Chuva, nothing will ever happen to any chet. All of a sudden, Yom Naram, come, people open up their checkbook. Gavaldik, we're building a shul in the 5 towns. I have good organizations you could give to. Writing out a check has absolutely nothing to do with Chuva. It's not going to do anything. When you give money to tzedakah, what happens to a chet? Nothing. Tzedakah is not Chuva. Chuva is 3 things. Charata, azivas hachet, and vidoy. If you don't do that, no ma'asim tovim will wipe away any avera. It's not tit for tat. not tzedakah, not se'akah, not Yom Kippur. There's only one way to get rid of a chet, that's Chuva. But the problem is, Rabbi say, Chuva doesn't work for every chet. The Gemara says in Yuma, a very frightening Gemara, Daf Pevav Manaf number 12. The Gemara says the famous Brisa of Rabbi Yishmael. Rabbi Yishmael was Doiresh Dalid Chiluke Kapara. If a person violates an aseh, they woke up late one morning, they missed the Zman Kriya Shema. If they do tshuva, bam, immediately, their avera is wiped out. They do not need Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur doesn't do anything for Mitzvah Aseh. It's not needed for Mitzvah Aseh. Tshuva gets rid of Mitzvah Aseh. Alav. Chas v'shalom, somebody wore shatnez, and they did tshuva. The avera is not wiped away. You need tshuva, and then Yom Kippur. That's one of the reasons we have a Suda Erev Yom Kippur, says Rabbeinu Yonah, to show the whole year we're worried. What if we don't make it to Yom Kippur? What's going to be with all the lavin that we did tshuva on that the tshuva is ineffective for until Yom Kippur comes? And what if Chas Hashem, somebody violated lav sheyesh by kares? Tshuva is not enough. Yom Kippur is not enough. Chas Hashem, the Gemara says, Ela b'yisurim. And Chilul Hashem, says the Gemara, not Tshuva, not Yom Kippur, not Yisurim, Ela b'misa. Oy vay vay, from this Gemara. That means Yom Kippur only works for a lav. I say you don't need Yom Kippur. Lav sheish b'kares, Yom Kippur doesn't work. Yom Kippur is a very limited and specific medication. It's not, Yom Kippur's over, my neshama is clean. Don't fool yourself. Yom Kippur only works for lavin. It's a Gemara. Comes a chidah, comes a minchas chinuch, and they say a chidush nifla. And by the way, in the Hakdama of the Chuva of Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan, he paskins this way, that this Gemara is only talking about tshuva miyira. Because if you do tshuva miyira, then the mezid is downgraded to shoygeg. So downgraded to shoygeg, there's still a remnant of the avera. So you need Yom Kippur, Chas Hashem, you need Yisurim, Misa. But if you do tshuva me'ahava, says the Chidah, says the Minchas Chinuch, says Rabbi Yitzchak Elchanan, then the avera of nevela is transformed into achilas karban pesach. You don't need Yom Kippur. You don't need Yisurim, Chas v'shalom. You don't need Misa. If a person does tshuva me'ava, in one moment, yesh kaina olamai b'sha'achas. Tshuva me'ava. That's why the Rebbe Shem reminds us, it's not ani le'elokim ve'elokim li. I want to give you the opportunity, premium tshuva. Right now, you don't need Yom Kippur. Elul. Ani le'doidi ve'doidi li. In a moment of tshuva me'ava, not only do you wipe away all the chatam, it's nepach lezechuya, where you could sing Ashamnu like you'd be singing Od Yishama B'orei Yehuda V'chutzos Yerushalayim. Banim atem l'Hashem Elokeichem. That's the mechanism of tshuva. That's the first message of the Torah in Chodesh Elul. So I'll tell you a story. My father told me many years ago. So my Zayda Zol Gesundsein was a Rav in Pittsburgh since 1951. And as a pulpit rabbi, one of the big jobs as a rabbi, you have to officiate at an unveiling. Why you need a rabbi at an unveiling, I have no idea, but it's good for the parnasa, you know? So you call on the rabbi, he reads the grave and he reads the chapter of Psalms, you know, because you need smicha to be able to do this. And that's a big job of the rabbi. So, but my grandfather was not well at the time, he just had surgery, so my father stepped in, and this big 6'5" Western Pennsylvanian man comes to the door in his big pickup truck, and he says, "Rabbi, I'm going to take you out to the cemetery. I have a couple of things to show you." So he takes my father out to the cemetery, and he says, "Rabbi, you see this? This is my aunt. This is my aunt. See this? This is my uncle, my brother, my sister. You know, he's showing graves like he'd be showing off a bottle cap collection. This is my son. This is my daughter. No emotion, cold like a rock. This guy is, a big, gruff guy. And then he shows the grave of his father and his mother who passed away 50 years earlier. And he breaks down crying like a baby for his father and mother. The first emotion planted in the human heart, in a way, is the strongest emotion. The love for a parent. Even though one would say, you love your child more than anything else in the world. That's the strongest love, right? But even so, the love of a child comes later in life. The first ahava, that's nitzvah, that's programmed into the human heart, the love that you're born with into this world is the love you have for a parent. That's the most basic love. It says Mesilas Yesharim, the love for HaKadosh Baruch Hu is an ahava tivis. It's a natural love. It's not a big madrega. You just have to access it. You just have to pull it out. Haloi hu avicha. He's your father. Says Rabbi Kiva Eger, where in davening is the mitzvah of Avas Hashem? In the beginning of Shema? How could you tell somebody to love something? Either you like it, you like spinach, you don't like it? Love it! Love it! I'm telling you, you have to love it. Either you love it or you don't love it. You can't force somebody to love. How could Rebbeinu Shalom command us to love him? But there is a way in this world that you will automatically love someone who loves you. Shlomo HaMelech says, Kemayim panim al panim, kein levnei adam el chaveroi. Says Rabbi Kiva Eger, what does it say right before the mitzvah of Yohavta es Hashem Elokecha? Baruch atah Hashem, haboicher bi'amoy Yisrael bi'ahava. So Rebbeinu Shalom loves you. Once Rebbeinu Shalom loves you, and you feel it, then it's natural. It's kemayim panim al panim. Kein levnei adam al chaveroi. If we're zoicha, says the Chida, to pay attention to the remez of Chodesh Elul, ani ledoidi v'doidi li, then we could be zoicha, as frightening as Elul is, and the yira, and umi yamoid mi yitztak lefanecha, but nevertheless, if we're able to do Chuva even a little bit me'ahava, then Chodesh Elul is a Chodesh of Simcha. It's a Chodesh of Yeshua. It's a Chodesh of great achievement. May the Rebbeinu Shalom grant us all siyata d'shmaya, that we should be able to do premium Chuva. We should be able to do Chuva me'ava. We should be mahapich all of our avoinos into zechuyos. We should all be zoicha to ksiva chsima tova and a gebench tiyar for us and all of our families. Shkoyach.
Shem Irgen Shir Torah Moses Boston, like to give a big yashikayach to Rabbi Gladstein for the very inspiring drosha. Although tzedakah, as the Rav said, is not tshuva, but it still helps on the cheshbon of mitzvahs, at least until Rosh Hashanah, according to the Mefarshim. After Rosh Hashanah is a different story, but till Rosh Hashanah, now we're holding before Rosh Hashanah, the tzedakah still helps for the cheshbon, for the mishkal of mitzvahs and averis, and it's a perfect opportunity, which is now to help Irgen Shir Torah with our Batzas Torah, to help you with your Limud Torah and the Batzas Torah D'Rabbim, by putting an ad in the journal for the upcoming dinner or sponsoring one of the remaining shiurim. Call Irgen Shir Torah at 718-851-8651 or email tapecenter@yeshivanet.com for this great schus. I'd like to give a big yashikar to Mr. Mendy Pomerantz for sponsoring tonight's shir. I'd like to give a big yashikar to Mr. Shimon Eckstein for sponsoring tonight's shir. Lili Nishmas Imoy, Chaya Bashabayit Tzvi Ela Shalom Zresa tonight. She was also learning Lili Nishmas, my grandmother Esther Bas Pinchas Ela Shalom Zresa was today Chav Avov. Nishmei Seim Tzurus B'Tzara Chaim. CDs of tonight's show will be available shortly. Yashikar to everyone for coming. Chananya Ben Akashem Marot Sakadosh Baruch Hu Lasakis is Yisrael. The figure Hibbelam Torah Mitzvah Shanema Aleinoi Chofes Leman Tzidka Yagdol Torah V'Yader.
Say, Israel,